to OverDrive continues, brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Bryan Hayes, Zero Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles McLennan, our buddy Mike Johnson will join us here in a moment. 4 games in the Stanley Cup playoffs tonight. Game 4 tomorrow night. Leafs Bruins. William Nylander, we believe, will return. That is not definitive, but he did fully participate in practice today, and he spoke with the media afterwards. I think speaking with the media, to me, is the biggest sign. They're not going to send him out there if he's still, in a bad place. I think they're preparing for him to play tomorrow night. Sounds like T.J. Brodie could get into the lineup tomorrow. And, Ilya Samsonov, there's no conversations about him, which is fascinating because with the Bruins, they've had great goaltending for the most part through 3 games, and they're going back and forth. Right. And Samsonov was leaky in Game 1, bit leaky in Game 3.
I know that. I know the locker room conversation. Guys, get everything on net. Like, don't ever waste a shot. It's like get to the net and get everything. It's a standard cliche comments in NHL locker rooms when a guy lets in a muffin like that. Shoot everything. Get everything on this guy. Challenge him. See what he's got.
Well, and to me, there's no bad shot in the playoffs with the amount of what's at stake. Like, to me, there's traffic in front all the time. There's tips, there's screens, like all of that. And even a clear-sighted shot down the wall, which that was, you're throwing it to the net. Even if he makes that save, maybe it's a rebound. You got to force the D to turn and defend. And that's when you get on the forecheck and you're physical. It's straight line hockey in the playoffs. And your game has to adapt if you're a guy that likes to curl back and make plays and stuff. This is just a straight line play. It's a bad goal. There's he's on the outside of the dots. Like, he's at the top of the circle on the wall and wrists it towards the net. It's above the right pad, off the short side post. It's in the net. And, everyone can point to, there was, should have been blown down and there was a jostle going on. Yeah, it doesn't matter. They didn't blow the whistle and the puck was in the net. It sucks because that's just a stoppable puck, and you were in pretty good shape. You were playing well. You were up 1-0, feeling pretty good. And, now all of a sudden, you got to defend that. But Samsonov has to have a game tomorrow night. He really does. Like, that's, Do
you think it's just concluded he's starting every game? Like,
nope.
have we moved past Joseph Woll is even in the conversation anymore?
Well, if he stinks the joint, I don't want to think
but then
negatively.
It's 3-1. Me neither, but I'm just saying.
You're right. You're probably right. Noodles, what's your take? You're the goalie.
Well, you just said it, and I know we don't want to go there, but if he stinks a joint out tomorrow night, I think Joseph Woll plays the next game. Because now you're chasing it at 3-1. See if you can get a spark, get something. Because you know what you have in Samsonov, and if he doesn't play very well tomorrow night, that'll be 3 or 4 games where there's been some question marks. So to me, he has to have a game where you're going, okay, we're going back with him in Game 5 because he got us the win, or he gave us a good performance. Like, a lot of it will suggest if the Leafs lose 3-2 in overtime tomorrow night, he's going back.
What if they win 7-6?
I think then a win's a win. I think you follow it up.
I know. But honestly, this could happen, right? Like, it could be a scenario where it's like, man, it wasn't great, but the other guy.
No, he goes back in, and the coach's comments are, he made the right saves at the right time.
Okay, I'm just trying to clarify. I'm just trying to know where we're standing here.
It's the Georgie 5 conversation. He gave up 7 on 23, and they're going back to him.
Yeah, but Georgie 5 was dynamite the next game, so he responded.
Well, I don't think Samsonov wasn't terrible last game. He just allowed a bad goal. And unfortunately, that's what we talk about. We don't talk about the big save he had on Van Riemsdyk or right pad. What we're talking about is what's polarizing, and that's a bad goal at a bad time. The game-winning goal was a perfect shot by Marchand. Now, he lost his stick, wasn't it? Matthews skated through a stick or something.
I think it was Matthews.
But it was you watch that goal again, there was literally
great shot.
Perfect that
shot.
Size of the puck available at the top of the net. It went underneath the bar. It was a perfect shot by Marchand. Perfect.
Yep. And Liljegren got buried on the forecheck, which led to it, and it appears as if there's a chance he comes out of the lineup tomorrow night. All right, joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline, here's our TSN hockey analyst, Mike Johnson. Do we have Johnny? Give us a 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Wow.
There he is. 1, 2, 3. I see all of you. Yes.
Oh, boy.
We got it up and running. That's good.
Yes. I love it. Good seeing you, buddy. And we were just having the Ilya Samsonov conversation. Like, is Joseph Woll just out of the discussion, in your opinion? Like, it's over, it's Samsonov's net, don't even bring up Woll anymore? Or where do we stand on that?
I think so. I mean, I think at this point in the playoffs, given that Samsonov has played relatively well, we are now 3 games into the series. Like, something really bad would have to happen. I don't know if there's enough time for enough bad things to happen to get Woll into this series. So even if Samsonov plays terrible on Saturday, you put in Woll in for what, game 5, an elimination game? That's a tough ask. So no, I think at this point, Samsonov's been good, not great. Noodles was exactly right. Like, the breakaway stop early in the game. He was good. He gave up a goal that you can't give up, and that's what everyone remembers. But I don't think so. I think it's Samsonov's net for the rest of the series, anyways, and then we'll see what happens if they get past him.
I've got one thing to jump on here. There's this if you want to get crazy. Say Samsonov has a tough start, and they pull him, and Woll comes in and they win the game. Then what do you do? Like, and that's I get these are what ifs. Then it's crazy.
It's very
simple
at that point. Yeah,
right. But that's Varlamov, right? Like Varlamov, same thing. He's going to take the next game. They tried Sorokin. He didn't work. Varley went in. He played well. I think, if Woll gets in and plays well, and then they win a game, then sure. And they've also, if they win the game, they buy themselves a little margin in the next game where it's not the end of the series if it doesn't go well.
Right.
Johnny, what's the importance? What's the checklist of importance for William Nylander? Is it to show that he can handle the physicality and he's ready to play, or contribute offensively immediately?
Well, I mean, I think in a short series, if he contributes, like, who cares about whether he can handle getting hit? Can he put some points on the board and score a goal? Now, maybe you have to be able to handle a physicality to do that. But I think Willie, in his career, has shown himself to be the guy who mirrors his regular season production the closest in the playoffs. Like, his numbers are really pretty much the same in the playoffs as they have been in the regular season. So I don't think we should worry about stylistically. In many ways, Willie is the second most gifted player physically on the Toronto Maple Leafs, right? Like, I'm not saying he's better than Mitch Marner. We're not going to have that conversation right now, but physically he's stronger, right? He's just a bit heavier, a bit stronger. He can work through checks. So I don't think this idea of physicality is going to bother him. And, like, I understand everyone's hitting, right? There's a ton of hits on both sides. But, like, is Parker Wotherspoon going to bother William Nylander? Kevin Shattenkirk going to bother William Nylander?
No, I was just saying, it was a terrible question, but I was just thinking, guys, whenever someone comes back, they're like, how's he going to handle it? You know what I mean? Like, is he first hit? Can he absorb it? Is he going to get up? Is he going to skate off? I guess he's just got to go out there in the position they're in, Johnny, and you basically just sum that up. He's got to go out and make a difference, because a lot of standard play out there, nothing going on, and dump-ins and get it out and neutral zone clog-ups. He is an electrifying talent, and he can make a difference, and that's why he signed that contract, and that's what's expected when he jumps back in there.
So, absolutely. Now, this series, it's hard to be a difference maker, right? Boston makes it hard. So, like, you can't – I think what he's got to fight is the idea that he's trying to make that difference every shift, because it's not going to be there. Right? Like, you got to play within the game plan. You got to play responsibly. And then when you have your moment or an opportunity, you have to make the best of it. And what I'm going to be watching for is when Willie was rolling at his very best this year earlier, I think it all starts with him skating off the puck. And when he skates off the puck, he gets himself in better spots to grab it. And then once he has it, he makes the magic happen that only he can make. But that's what I'm watching. Down the stretch, I think that's what I saw. He was sort of not moving as well, as determined away from the puck to get it back to go the other way. So, and I don't think that's a health thing for him. I mean, I'm presuming it's not. So as long as he's skating well, moving well, then he should be successful. And he should really help on the power play, which in many ways has been the difference in this series.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest boost you can get is a power play that's been, pretty much useless outside of that one Tavares goal in Game 2, the game in which they actually won. he will be a massive boost. And you're right, though. Like Willie can carve up a neutral zone. Like he can make magic through the middle of the ice, and yet it's going to be difficult for him to do that because Matthews does it well, and it just hasn't been available to him. And I can't imagine it will be just because Willie shows up. Yet he's probably going to play with Holmberg and Yarncroke. Like, I'm curious how Keefe is going to get him out, because we saw it the other night with Marner. He was double shifting Marner early. He was trying to get him more ice. Like, he took Bertuzzi off the line. He took Domi. He skipped a couple of shifts of both those guys to get Mitch ice with Matthews and to get him going. Do you think he'll do the same with Nylander, or will he have to ease him out, ease him in a little bit, and it'll be 15, 16 minutes as opposed to 21 or 22?
Probably wait and see, right? He's probably going to see how's he feeling, how's he looking. He would like it to be 22 because that means he's playing well. He probably, if it's me and I think I'm him, he probably starts off aggressively, right? Like, off a penalty kill, out you go with Matthews. Late in the period, out you go with Tavares. Like, he'd give him those extra opportunities. And if he's handling them, he keeps giving them to him. If he's not handling them well, if they're not playing well, if he's not playing well, then he would get paired back to whatever the 15, 16 minutes like a regular sort of third-line power play guy might get. But I think he would want him to be doing enough to warrant that extra ice time the way they have all year long. And it just gives them more options at different times in the game. And, it's been hard for Matthews. Matthews seen a lot of McAvoy. He's seen a lot of Zaka. Like, ideally, Willie's playing against the third and fourth lines, which doesn't make it easy, but it makes it different. And hopefully he can take advantage of some of that.
Johnny, we saw potentially some juggling on the back end. Looks like TJ Brody might be sniffing around. Obviously, with Lyubushkin having the baby, that might be placeholding. But if that's not, if Brody slides in, who do you think comes out? And, we saw Jimmy Montgomery make adjustments in, game 3. Is it Sheldon's turn type of thing?
Yeah, so I think it's funny. Like, we interpret what's going on the practice lines so much, but I do think the fact that Liljegren was in Lyubushkin's spot and Brody in Liljegren's spot, assuming that Lyubushkin comes back, that's how it goes. Lyubushkin in for Riley. They put up relatively good numbers this series, and then Liljegren would fall out, and Brody, like, if it's just placeholding in place of Lyubushkin, then you put Brody up there for practice with Riley, and you let Liljegren work with Edmondson. Normal rotation. But the fact that it was Brody with Edmondson, I think they're working those guys to play together, and Liljegren is either going to play on the first power or first unit because Lyubushkin's not available, or he's not playing at all because Lyubushkin's back, which I think he will be for the game tomorrow. It's not surprising in the sense that you look at, like, Liljegren and Edmondson have played a lot, actually. Like, minutes-wise at 5-on-5, they've played a lot together, and they put up, maybe some of the worst numbers in this series as far as, the shot shares and the expected goals and all the stuff that O really looks into. Like, they just haven't been that effective in what you want your third pair to do. So I could see Brody in for Liljegren. I don't know if I love it. Not saying that Liljegren's been great, but I don't know what Brody's going to give you that's that much different other than experience. But they don't have any options, so I could see it.
Why does Liljegren get, like, he doesn't get rubbed off the puck. He gets pasted several times a game.
Hammered.
What is it about a young defense? Well, he's not young anymore. He's been around for a bit. I know Randy Carlisle says the 300-game mark for defensemen, but what about his game puts him in position? Is that just not thinking? Is it because he gets pasted, and it's like, how can you have a defenseman getting pasted? Like, you can't play the position like that.
So I think it's probably two things, though, and both of them are not good, right? One is maybe lack of awareness of a guy coming to hit you, right? Like, you're not aware of the guys coming around the net, and you think you have time and space, and then you get crushed. And the other one, maybe more importantly, he's a fine skater. He's not quick. Like, he's not quick in and out of turns. He's not quick to change angles. So every time he goes back to the puck, like, he's very predictable in the route he takes. As a forechecker, he's heading that direction. I can meet him at the pass. He's not going anywhere else. So I can really commit to getting him there. And he never goes anywhere else. He never stops. He never turns. He just rolls through it and just gets hammered. Now, if you don't mind and you're able to make a play while doing that, good. Good for you. But it's a tough way to work every night when he takes more hard hits that
Dude,
anybody
get your
else on the
stick
Leafs
up
by a
at
mile.
least and let somebody eat it. Like, if you're going to get, that's what I was taught. You're going to get pasted like that, let someone eat it.
That's what I think the third and maybe most important component is. We all know, like when you're a forward and when you're kids and hitting starts, the big kid, you slow down. You're like, that kid might stop up and bury me or get his elbow up. Liljegren,
What do you mean you
these
slow
guys,
down?
Well, I'm not going to try to bury him because I don't know if
These guys
can.
are like just full steam ahead, you're saying.
They look at Liljegren and say, I can crush him, like bury him. So the forecheck is like a forecheck on steroids. Because if you go in on Edmondson, he might stop up and bury you, or get his elbow up, or his
and
stick
as a
comes
forward,
up.
that's a fun feeling when you're going into it, not a tall defenseman.
Yeah.
And because I used to like to hit on the, I'm like, I'm going to cause a problem right here, and his helmet might pop off, his glove might. Guys love causing problems like that because it creates a buzz.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like as a guy who maybe didn't look to hit quite like O did, but I would try to get the puck off people. I would be like, okay, if I commit to this hit and he stops and spins off, and now I'm behind him and chasing him up as he activates, that's no good, right? Like, so it brings, Hazy, you're right. Like, it brings an element of caution into your route, into your approach. If there is no caution, it's just full steam ahead. I'm gonna kill this guy. It's bad news for him, and it's good news for the guy who's coming in on the forecheck.
Right. There's no caution with Liljegren. With Mike Johnson, our TSN hockey analyst. So Tampa might get swept. The Islanders might get swept. I think the Capitals might get swept. Did we misread, all the parity in the East, or is this actually the way it should play out because the Rangers and Carolina and Florida are just that much better?
I think it's the latter. I think it's absolutely not a misread. I mean, I've always, like, there's 4 really good teams in the East. One team that was sort of on an island unto itself, which is Toronto at 5, and everyone else below them not nearly as good as the top 4 teams. And I think it's going to play out something like that. Like, the Metro was so lopsided. Rangers, really good. Carolina, really good. Islanders, Washington, Pittsburgh, whoever, not really. Not of that caliber. Toronto was the closest team. Now, Tampa's surprising because it's Tampa. And you look at their numbers, though, and Tampa, they finished strong. Vazzy had a good finish. They've played close games. Florida's just a little bit better. They fought them hard. Florida's a bit better. But I do think this was sort of predictable that one series with Toronto would be likely the closest of them all, and the other one would have been a pretty significant upset for any one of the Panthers, Rangers, or Hurricanes to lose in the round 1.
Yeah. It is disappointing to see Tampa in particular because you just have so much time and respect for them, and Cooper's in a very different position than he has been in a long, long time. I guess since that Columbus series, which shocked the world, but they were also a team on the up and up at that point. This time, like Florida, they can smell blood in the water, and they are going to lean, man.
This is why, remember we had this conversation after the last game of the regular season, and we're like, who's better, Florida? Who's better for the Leafs, Florida or Boston? I'm like, it's Boston.
Yeah.
Because Florida's a nightmare in 7 games. And whoever gets through from Toronto and Boston and up against Florida, and I don't know if Sam Bennett's back and healthy or not, won't even matter. Florida's
anybody that thought, Johnny, that Florida wasn't going to snap into it, because they went through a lull there before the playoffs. They were just like, you just wait. We will flip the switch. That momentum going into the playoffs, that doesn't mean – those guys are gamers, man.
Yeah, they are locked in, and Bob has been better than Vasilevsky. And, the reason they got railroaded in the final, because Vegas was so good, but also they were running on fumes. They had so many injuries. Like, Florida kind of healthy is a different animal. They are a load. So, and it does feel strange, though, for Tampa. Like, you don't want to get too premature with it. Series is not over. It does feel like a bit of the end of an era, though, doesn't it? Like, their window to really win, to really be a cup contender is closing, if not closed. And you wonder what that means for Stamkos and his contract. Not that John Cooper would ever be fired for performance, but I don't know. He's been there longer than anyone has been anywhere in the NHL. Like, you wonder what kind of changes could be coming, because it does feel like they're still good, but they're not good enough to win a cup.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, if Cooper ever got loose, there'd be teams just crawling all over their current coach to get to him.
I just heard this the other day. I didn't Rod Brind'Amour doesn't have an extension yet.
know.
Now, maybe.
I know.
Could you imagine if that guy decides to walk into free agency?
That's insane that owner
He's
would not have that whole staff. It's disgusting.
Grossly
It
underpaid.
actually is.
He makes like $2 million a year,
upsetting.
which
It's
is
upsetting.
crazy. And the crazy part about it, and we know like that owner doesn't, he has his own metrics and how he values things, and he doesn't want to overpay a coach. Rod Brind'Amour is like the fabric of that team more than any other player. Like he's the face of the Hurricanes, and he's the reason
Johnny,
why
somebody will pay him $6 million.
Easy.
Yeah.
Including the team down the road from you right now would in a heartbeat, the team up the highway in Ottawa, Rod Brind'Amour in Ottawa, like teams would, and to the point where New Jersey, with all their talent, we love Greeny, but any team that needs one, and including teams that don't need a new coach, they'd be like, if we can get him, we prefer him over the guy we have, and we would take that if we could. So, that is noteworthy, Noodles, that he's so good, and he might be available.
Now, if I was him, I would swipe everyone from the organization. I would take my video guy, I'd take all the strength people, medical people, everybody out, and just say, screw you, Dundon, where I'm just you can deal with all of this, and you can deal with the backlash from the fan base too. That's insane that an owner would do that.
Yeah. Well, I'm shocked by it. Like that, to me, he is the fabric of that organization, the face of it, all of that. But is it a lack of respect? Is it just him being a good soldier going, you know what, just whatever you're going to put on the check, put
Noodles,
on the check?
Johnny just said it. He just said it. That owner, he had John Forsland there, a legendary broadcaster, legendary in the market, and he decided that he didn't want to pay him a certain amount of money. Chuck Hayton, same thing. And don't even think that it's just the coaches. People behind the scenes there are showing up for, like, crumbs, because he just says that's what you're going to make. And obviously there's options for people to get other jobs. He says that you're not making that where I'm running the organization. You're not making it. It's pathetic.
And the thing is, they're not looking for more than what they're worth. They're just looking for the market value of that position. That's the thing. They're not saying, hey, pay me twice what anyone else gets. He's like, no, pay me what everyone else around the league gets. And he's not saying it. So we'll see. I mean, I think, like we're seeing with Stamkos, I think Tampa is going to leverage Stamkos' loyalty and desire to stay in Tampa into a contract that is way less than what he would get otherwise. Same thing with Rod Brind'Amour. They've already done it. They've leveraged his desire to stay in Carolina. His kids play hockey there. He's so entrenched there. Say, listen, you can go get 6 elsewhere, but you really want to be here. So we're going to take advantage of that, and you're going to get 2, and you'll be happy to do a great job for us with it. But who knows? I mean, the coaching carousel, I think, is waiting on these things. Like they're waiting on the playoffs to end and see what shakes loose amongst playoff teams. And see what coaches and what spots. Like Craig Berube's out there. Does he want Ottawa? Or maybe is another job of a team currently in the playoffs going to become available because they may make a change if they go out quickly, whether it's Toronto, Tampa, whoever. Could be Carolina, whatever it might be. I think that carousel will probably pick up after the first round where, things become a little more clear.
Yep, yeah. I think you're right on that. The other 3 Canadian teams in action tonight, Vancouver, Winnipeg, Edmonton. Who sticks out to you? Which game sticks out to you the most in terms of the Canadians and Canadian content, and who has to have a game tonight because it's 1-1 hitting the road?
I mean, feels like Vancouver, and it feels like the most important game for Vancouver, given where they're at, given that DeSmith is playing and Demko is not coming back, and you're concerned about that. We know how crazy Nashville can be. And Nashville was a pretty close team to Vancouver anyways. And it was such a great year. Everything went beautifully for Vancouver this season. You'd hate for them to, stumble, lose their number 1 goaltender. Pettersson is playing like a guy who doesn't have a lot of confidence, or maybe a guy who's hurt. I don't know which one, maybe both. And so like they get down 2-1, then the stress of that situation becomes even more magnified because they're supposed to win. Winnipeg, yeah, it's tough. It's Colorado at home, best home team in the league. It's going to be tough, but Colorado, Winnipeg, it's a toss-up. It's a tough series anyways. Edmonton, LA, I think Edmonton gets that series no matter what happens tonight. But for Vancouver, if they get that sort of negative momentum going and the pressure to not lose in the first round, that feels like it could be trouble.
Yeah, DeSmith, man. I mean, it's
so much pressure on him.
Yeah, but so much pressure, and it does it like Demko. There's a variety of different reports out there of what's going on with him, but it seems like he's not playing anytime soon. I mean, at a minimum,
Not playing this series.
Not playing against Nashville, so they got to get through Nashville first, and they all split at home. Winnipeg now heads into Colorado, Edmonton and L.A. It's 1-1 in all those series, so we'll see. Big weekend coming up. All right, Johnny, good seeing you, man. Thanks for doing this.
All right, boys. Great to see you guys as well and hear you.
Yes, I love it. The FaceTime. Look at this. I love it. Doogie, Joe from the bridge. Everyone's on fire. Thanks, MJ. There's Mike Johnson, our TSN Hockey analyst, joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline. Yeah, we got Ryan Smith coming up of the Utah hockey team just after 6 o'clock.
I love it.
Yeah.
There's, I was going to say, there's a bunch of different scenarios, right? Because let's say the 3 Canadian teams get through. Would it be Edmonton, Vancouver then? And then
it would be in the next round. If Edmonton and Vancouver get through, they're playing in the next round. Guarantees a Canadian team in the conference final.
But if Nashville beats Vancouver and Edmonton gets through and Vegas gets through, it's Edmonton, Vegas.
No, because it's a bracket now. They don't reseed. Remember, once you're in your division, you stay in your division. So that's the new way of operating. That's why they do the bracket where you can literally predict everything as opposed to reseeding and crossing over.
Right.
So if Edmonton gets through LA, they're playing either Nashville or Vancouver. And again, it's still early in all of these series. It's too early to predict. I think Edmonton's getting through LA. Fully expect that. I think Vancouver's in a fight now, and I think Winnipeg's in a fight. I think those two are coin flips at best, and the Leafs are, what are they, 35% to get through, 40% because you're just behind the 8 ball. Once you get down in the series 2-1, you're racing uphill.
Well,
doesn't mean they can't do it, but yeah, it's pretty much a must-win tomorrow night. Once you do that, you get back into 50-50 territory. I mean, the odds are constantly going to adjust based on how every game goes. But, I think all of us collectively across the country, we're like, all right, we got 4 lottery tickets here, a lot of good teams, a lot of great seasons. Let's see what happens. And as of now, it's like, all right, maybe we get a couple teams through. I think at least one guaranteed. But let's hope it's closer to 4. Mm-hmm. Because it just makes life so much more interesting when you have Canadian teams in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Well, we were so fired up before the playoffs. We're like, the odds this year, it's looking good. You can't have them all get pounced or a bunch of them in the first round.
Right. Like if 2 or 3 of them go out in the first round, it's going to be incredibly deflating, needless to say. All right, Dear Hazy B, in about an hour, Shohei Ohtani's in town, the NFL draft resuming. There was a lot that came out of last night. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2. Mail-in Fridays brought to you by Boston Pizza, Canada's favorite sports bar. From tip-offs to tie bites and puck drops to pizza, BP's elite lineup of apps, wings, and ice-cold beers always dialed in for game time. Hustle into your local BP tonight, where you can watch rounds 2 and 3 of the NFL draft, 4 games in the Stanley Cup playoffs, the Jays-Dodgers, NBA playoffs continuing. And if you're watching the draft and the Jags are on the clock, I guess Tony Khan will be in his neck brace. Because
what the hell was that all about?
So, could you not go the couple hours without the break?
Well, he's obviously trying to sell, AEW. Obviously, he runs and operates that, and I guess he took a pile driver on Wednesday. And he's in the. You would just think Goodell or his dad would say, "I understand the importance of different businesses. I get you're trying to sell that you got pile drived and you're injured." But this is the National Football League, and it's the draft.
And
please take the neck brace off.
That was outrageous.
Yeah.
Like, outrageous, this guy.
And he was doing an interview, I guess, on NFL Network in like going even heavier into it and talking about the storyline. And the NFL's like, all right, he owns the Jags. I guess we got to pretend like we really care about this. And like anyone that wears a neck brace like Dad, it's such a prop, right? Like, and obviously it is. It's a wrestling thing, but come on, dude. Come on. It's the NFL.
It was outrageous. Like, you were right. There was about 8 storylines from last night where you were like, what the hell? That might have topped it, though. I mean, the Kirk Cousins, the 8th overall pick, like that's drama. But that might be, Jordan Love. Like, that might be.
They're trying. They're hoping that happens.
but him wearing a neck brace, and I don't know, like it was awkward. That's what I would say. It was awkward.
Really awkward because, ESPN, NFL Network, obviously they probably have notes. And
they
it's
must have just had a field day with that.
Well, but they got to be careful because he's a part, he's the son of the owner and he works for the Jags, obviously. And, it's.
No, but Hayes, doesn't somebody get to him and say, hey, man, we got to have a talk? Like the three of us.
Yeah.
If it was the first show of the year and somebody walked in with some kind of giant neck brace, it would have been like, can we maybe just take that off and wear it in commercials?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, we can't do the neck brace today. You would have that conversation with me, Hayes.
I think we would.
I don't know, but like, is he known as like the idiot son? Or is he like known as like a shrewd businessman, or like, because you hear about all the time these billionaires and these really eccentric rich people, and then they've got, oh well, that's the idiot son or the daughter who's an influencer, or whatever, you name it. Like, is he known as like the?
I think he's heavily involved in creative and stuff like that. Again, they're trying AEW. They're competing with WWE naturally.
Right.
It's his product. He's a part of it. I think he's trying to. It's a Vince McMahon type thing.
Right.
Like that's the storyline. And they own the Jags. They own Fulham in the Premier League. And I don't know how heavily involved he is, but obviously his dad, is a shrewd businessman that's worth billions and billions of dollars, and now he's involved. And it's Al Davis and Mark Davis. Mark Davis is in there. And, he's got the hair going, but he doesn't have a neck brace. He's not trying to sell, being pile drived on a wrestling program. But, there was a lot of interesting stuff that came out last night. All the offensive picks. I think the first 13 or 14 picks were offensive players. That's a sign of where the sport is and where it's going. It's all offense all the time. If you don't have a potent offense, you can't win. I think it might speak to why Belichick is on the outside looking in, because if you don't change who you are and how you operate and how you approach the offensive side of things, you just simply cannot win in the NFL anymore. And we witnessed that last night. And I guess Roger Goodell it must have been a minor back surgery, although that kind of sounds like an oxymoron. I'm not sure you can't have a minor back surgery a couple of weeks ago. But there were some pretty substantial bro hugs last night. Like a couple of linemen.
I told you, man.
A couple of linemen didn't get the memo that Raj was not in the mood for that.
Well, didn't JP say it was like blew his back out or something yesterday? Yeah. He was like, I think Roger loves that more than anything because it makes him feel like he's one of the fellas.
Yep.
Yep.
He's a big football guy himself, right? I'm a football guy, and I can do a bro hug with you.
Yeah.
He makes 50 sheets a year.
Yeah.
Like isn't that the crazy part? He makes $50 million a year, or roughly. Wasn't it 46
48,
or something?
49,
plus
yeah.
private jet. Remember he was fighting over like jet time and stuff like that in his last deal. I remember like it got down to the nitty gritty, and he wanted more hours on jets and stuff like that. But he's making 50
more hours on jets. Imagine at 45 sheets.
50, and you want more hours because he obviously would have access to it during the season. Anything NFL related, private bird.
Yeah.
But he was, to your point, was looking for when I have my weeks off and I'm going to Europe or whatever, private bird, please. And I think Jerry Jones was at the forefront of that, saying absolutely not. Yet in the end, I think Roger got everything he was asking for. And I guess last night he was talking about, and reports have come out, they're mulling over an 18-game season, which means if they're mulling over it, it's going to happen. Of course it's going to happen. And they're going to move the Super Bowl back a week to a long weekend. So, which will be amazing for viewers in the States. I don't believe it'll be a long weekend up here. I'm not sure. But if you're in the U.S., the idea of the Super Bowl being on a Sunday night and everyone's off the next day, that just seems right, and no one's going to complain about an 18-game season. I understand players will. Players Association certainly will. That said, the players get 50% of the pot or whatever it is, and more games means more money, means more TV money, means more ticket sales, means every player gets paid that much more. Yet, the science behind it, the health behind it, it's tough. It's tough to play more games. It's an incredibly physical sport, very physically daunting sport. And they're already playing a lot of short weeks and 4 days off. And,
like, how much fight back could the NFLPA have where the guys are like, that's just too much, like, enough's enough? They just have no say, and they're like, this is what...
Generally not. I mean, their PA has historically been very weak.
And when's 18 going to turn into 22 then?
That would be my thought, too. How much further are they going to go?
But don't you think there'll be more money involved? But more money involved, like, period, for the league. But for the players, if we're adding another game, like, not at the top. Those guys are always going to make the big money. But wouldn't it help bring up the bottom a little bit? Maybe minimum salary, maybe a little bit more here and there. Like, I think it would expand some salaries for guys. If they were making $1 million, now you get 1.5 type of thing. You can actually negotiate a little bit more. Am I wrong on that?
No, I think you're right. And I bet you there'll be a huge negotiation on what veterans get, past players, health care, all that kind of stuff, where if the league is going to take something, the PA is going to try to grab whatever they can. But in the end, if you're a fan, who's going to say no to another football game? Like, who's going to say no to an extra week of the NFL? Nobody. Who's going to say no to the Super Bowl on a long weekend? That just seems perfect. Like, it just seems ideal. Give me more football.
Exactly, on a long weekend.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, they understand that. They're like, at some point, the NFL will reach a tipping point where it's oversaturated. But they know they're not there yet. If anything, the appetite for all things NFL continues to expand. It's bigger and more popular than ever before. And it's going international. I mean, Goodell, before the Eagles pick last night, was rambling on about them going to Brazil. People were freaking out, myself included. Like, I get it, Raj. Who are they taking? You know what I mean? Like, people in Brazil, they're getting a game. That's awesome. They're going down there. They're playing the Packers. I think it's on a Friday night, which is also equally really cool. But get to the pick, figure it out here. But at some point it will happen. At some point they'll play too much or they'll play too many games. People say, all right, that's enough. And then they might scale it back, or by that point it might be too far gone. But they're making so much money collectively, these 32 teams. And all these TV networks, all the streaming companies, they all want a piece. And they know it. So they're going to keep going. I mean, it's got to be a fun business plan to be running and operating, because you almost can't miss right now.
Exactly. Hard, like, there's challenges that come up with discipline, individuals, owners, all kinds of nonsense, but that thing's a machine, man. Like, it prints money and it's a machine.
Too big to fail. Yeah. Too big to fail. They were in Detroit last night. They had like over 250,000 people, I guess, coursing through that. It was huge.
It was a scene. Eh?
It was
like
awesome.
Watching it from
it was
above.
awesome. And they're going to Green Bay next year. Like Green Bay, Wisconsin. There's like 150,000 people that live there. And that will be an absolute circus. And there'll be so many people there. And the draft has exploded. The Super Bowl is exploding. More games. And no one's going to say no to the NFL. All right, we've got Ryan Smith coming up from Utah. He owns the Jazz. He owns the hockey team. We'll ask him what's next. Like, because he owns a part of the soccer team. Are you trying to get the NFL there, Major League Baseball? Like, when does it end for Salt Lake City and Utah? Looking forward to catching up with him. Dear Hazy B at 6:30. We're looking ahead to Game 4 tomorrow night. The Jays and Dodgers in action tonight throughout the weekend as well. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2. So Bill Belichick was doing stuff last night with McAfee and ESPN. And
it's good.
He was really good. I mean, he was in his suit, and like McAfee obviously wears what he wears.
Jacket.
It was kind of awesome to see that. But he was, I think, very honest. But this speaks to his relationship with New England, Robert Kraft. The Pats took Drake May, who obviously they're ecstatic about that, and they believe he's going to be a great quarterback. And he wasn't critical of him, but he was, I think, honest in his assessment. Looked good in some ways.
Which why when you're an analyst, a former coach, player, whatever, honesty in what you really think is what you're supposed to say. And
absolutely. But in New England, I'll bet you they're saying, he's jaded. He hates Bob Kraft. Kraft cost him the job in Atlanta, and that's, all he is bitter now, and that's why he's taking runs at the guy. And we'll see. I mean, he was really, really breaking down tape, and that's what he is. He's a brilliant football mind. Yeah. And I don't know what his future is going to, entail. I don't know if he wants to get back into coaching. I presume he does. But he's going to be all over the media game for the next year, be everywhere in the NFL. And I haven't heard anything on Tom Brady, but Brady's supposed to be in the booth as of September on Fox.
I would guess he doesn't do it, man. There's just not enough. Like, wouldn't you think that would be promoted out the you-know-what, and it'd be like Brady reports of Brady doing run-throughs with whatever broadcaster, Burkhardt. I haven't heard any of that. For some reason, I just think, but on the other hand, there's 375 sheets involved, so how would he piss that away? Right. For some reason, there's the idea of the ownership or some... Like, Tom Brady planted that haircut scene where he's like, can you ask me if there was a chance if I could come back, and we need to get this out there because this is literally my last gasp. Like, after this year, there's no more of it. And he made a point of talking about San Fran, too, of all teams. It was like, that was the most planted social media vid of all time. He was like, I'm coming for a haircut, set up your pod, get your video guy, and ask me this question.
Yeah.
Well, it did its job because everyone was like, wow, breaking news.
But for a guy talking like that, and who knows, he might have been hungover and all juiced up, who knows. How can a guy be in that mindset and also understand Jamie, you know the work that goes into that job. Like, it's you can't wing it. You can't wing it and just show up and be like, I'm Tom Brady, I used to play. You get exposed and you look like a donkey.
No, you got to put the time in. You got to put the work in. But you know what? Why wouldn't he? Like, I believe he's single, right? He does have, kids and stuff like that. But if this is going to be his next career, all we've known of Tom Brady, all you heard about him is he was the hardest worker, the most prepared. Why would he not dive in with 2 feet here? I don't think he would be a passenger, but you got to put the work in. You got to research. You got to put the time in. You got to talk to people. But I think he would be excellent. But again, is he going to do it? There is no buzz. I haven't heard. Is he? Usually they would say Tom Brady's debut would be here. Like, maybe it's a little bit too early still.
Yeah, it probably is a little bit too early. It's the draft. They're not even into OTAs and mini camps. We'll know by the summer. Like, he's going to have to give Fox an answer if they don't have it already, because if he's not going to be in the A booth, then Olsen will stay, and they've got to adjust everyone around, and they will do that. But even, the draft is tricky because Fox doesn't have the rights to it. It's ESPN and NFL Network, and we know the nature of sports networks. If you don't have that property, you may not cover it the same way, and Brady may not have it in his deal. Like, that's another thing when these guys are doing their play-by-play, they're obviously working. But the offseason, it's a pretty good setup. Like Tony Romo, there's a clip we were going to play earlier in the week. We never ended up playing it, where he was asked about Scotty Scheffler, because I guess he and Scheffler are really close.
What, the rounds under 70?
Yeah. Like, Romo said he's played with him over 500 times, which is just a shocking amount of times. We have it.
How
all right.
much golf are they playing?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, Scheffler's on tour, so when is he playing? And how is Romo playing with this guy over 500 times? Let's play it, because Romo, of course, was at some tournament recently. Wasn't it a Champions Tour tourney or something?
It is, a Champions Pro-Am. Justin Williams also played.
Okay. Oh, Willie was there. Oh, nice. All right, so here's what Tony Romo had to say earlier in the week about playing with Scotty Scheffler.
I don't think I've ever played a round of golf with Scotty Scheffler and him not break 70, ever, which is insane. Like, now I'm actually starting to count it, where I'm like, we got to be around 500. And I'm like, not one day you're off in golf where you shoot 70, 71. It's because he's had days where he's played poorly and he's 1 over after 6. And I'm like, he should be 7 over, Then the next day he's 7 under after 6.
500 rounds for a guy that, like Scheffler, there's no way Romo was playing with him 5-6 years ago. Like when Scheffler was on the Corn Ferry, Tony Romo's like, sorry, who are you? But now that he's the man, and Romo's the man in Dallas and Fort Worth, which is...
Romo sounded raspy in that video.
He loves to tee it, man. He must just play golf every single... He probably plays 36 a day, and Scheffler sneaks in whenever he can. Whenever he's around or he's in town in Dallas or Texas or whatever, Romo's playing. But 500 rounds, he's never seen him not break 70 before.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. Like, that speaks to how good these guys are. The pressure might push a 73 or a 74 onto the card, But if these guys are playing in shorts and a T-shirt with music on it, beers in the cart, they shoot 63. It's not even.
And that's
like
why
for
all
fun.
the tour. If you talk to any serious golfer, anyone that's a stick, short game, short game, short game. Because the days you're chopping and hacking and slashing, you get up and down from the bathroom. You know what I mean? That's what saves them. It's like if I hit a skanky 6-iron that goes way over the green, there's some ridiculous lob shot that goes to that far and it goes in the net.
Yeah.
Or in the hole. And it's like that's where their short games separate. Anyone else, me and you, Hayes, well, I'll say me and you, like we're shooting 80.
Yeah, thank you for the inclusion. there.
By the way, how was
Tough conditions, almost impossible.
Dude,
Windy,
you're better than that. You're beyond
Northern
saying windy,
Ireland
man.
wins. Scotland wins in the winter.
Oh, no.
85, ecstatic with that. Played well, actually. Wind was tough. Wind was very, very tough. Easing into the season. Easing in. First round. It's all good. It's April
85's
still.
good. That's
85 for me. I'll take it, man. I felt good, looked good. Yeah, it was great. It was great to be out there. Okay, so hour 3 coming up. Ryan Smith will join us, owner of the Utah Jazz and the Utah Hockey Club. What's up with the name? Tell us about Salt Lake. How's this going to work? There's a lot to get into with him. We're looking forward to catching up with him. Dear Hazy B as well. And we'll turn the page and look ahead to Game 4. Leafs Bruins tomorrow night. Jay's in action as well. And our best bets brought to you by FanDuel. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app.